One of the most common questions I receive is this: how do I invite someone to Atomy? What ID do I give? Where do I find it? And how do I place them on the left or right leg? If you're new to Atomy or you're just starting to share with others, these questions are very normal. And today, I want to walk you through this step by step. Not in a complicated way, but in a calm, simple, and practical way. I'm creating this video because when many of us started Atomy, we didn't always have Zoom calls or step-by-step guidance. Sometimes we were just told, invite people, give your ID, build your left, and then your right. But no one really explained how. And that can make things confusing and even frustrating, especially for beginners. So this video is something I wish I had when I first started. A simple guide that you can come back to anytime. And something you can also share with your future team. Because when things are explained clearly, everyone builds with more confidence. Now, before we talk about inviting someone, I want to say something important first. Atomy is not about rushing to invite people. Because when you invite someone too quickly without understanding, it often leads to confusion and sometimes regret. That's why in my approach, I always encourage people to understand Atomy first as a consumer. Because when you understand as a consumer, inviting becomes natural. You don't need to convince because you are just sharing. Inviting someone in Atomy is actually very simple. My style, and the style that aligns with Atomy, is to share my experience with products I personally use. I don't try to convince people. I simply share what I'm using and what I've experienced. And often, I share based on the needs of the person I'm inviting. For example, if someone is tired, I may share something related to energy. If something is concerned about health, I may share something I personally use for wellness. If someone's looking for value, I may share something practical that I use at home. So instead of pushing, you're simply sharing what may help that person. This makes the invitation natural and not awkward, but comfortable. Now you can say something simple like, you say, I've been using this and I thought of you because this might be helpful to you too. That's it. Simple, natural, no pressure. Because the right people will be curious on their own. Now, when someone decides they want to join, you will give them your sponsor ID. This is your Atomy ID. This tells the system that you're the person who introduced them. Now, this is very important because this connects them to you. Now, here's something very important to understand. In Atomy, you can only sponsor 2 people directly, one on your left and one on the right, because Atomy uses a binary system. So when you give your ID, the first person goes to one side and the second person goes to the other side. After that, you can still invite more people, but they will no longer be placed directly under you. So instead, they will be placed at the end of the line. So you just need to decide, should this new person go to the left line or the right line? So every time you invite someone, you choose left or right. And the system places them at the bottom of that line. So here's how it goes. Okay, so this is the binary system. So let's say this is you. And then now you put 2 legs, left and right. Now let us say you're going to invite someone and you put them here. By default, the first one goes to the left and the second one goes to the right. Now, this is A and this is B. So, which ID will you give? The ID will be coming from you. You give your ID to A and you give your ID to B. Now, this will be the only 2 people that you will be giving your ID directly. For your next sign-ups, this is what happens. Let's say this is C, D, E. Okay, C, D, and E. F, G, H. Person F, person G, and person H. Okay. So, which ID will you give now? Let's say for C, you will give the ID of A to C. And for person D, you will give the ID of C to D. And for person D, you give the ID of D to E. And the same here on the other side. You'll always give the ID directly above. You can find your ID in your Atomy account. Just log in to the Atomy Global website, then go to My Office. At the top of the screen, you can see your name and your ID. That is the ID you give. Simple. When someone joins Atomy, they usually need your sponsor ID and their personal information, like email, contact number, address, and birthday. And once they complete registration, they become a member. They can either do this on their own, or you can actually help them step by step. It actually depends on you. Another very helpful thing to do is to check your lineage, because your lineage shows who is on your left leg and who is on your right leg, and who is already in your team. This is very important because sometimes members are added to your team by your upline, especially on one leg, because your one leg is also your upline's leg. So when your upline builds, sometimes members will be added under that same leg. Now, this is normal in the binary system. And this is why checking your lineage regularly is helpful, because you will see how your team is growing, where new members are placed, which leg needs more attention, and this helps you make better placement decisions. Now, placement often depends on groups of people who already know each other. For example, family members all in one leg and friends who know each other on the same leg. High school classmates on the same leg and co-workers on the same leg. Now, why is this information helpful? This is something I didn't know before. Because as your team grows, people can help each other more easily. They already know each other, they trust each other, and they communicate naturally. And since they are in the same line, again, in the same line, they grow together. And instead of everyone scattered, you build groups that grow together. That's why placement is important, and why it's best not to rush placement. So let me show you what I mean. Okay, in Atomy, placement really matters. So where do you put people? Do you put them on the left or the right? Now let us say this is you. Okay, and again, you have your left leg and your right leg. Let's say your mom wants to join, and you put your mom there. Okay, and your sister also wants to join. Do you put your sister here? No. Put your sister here. Your brother, your niece, your nephew, your cousins. Why? Because they all know each other. So they can easily communicate, and they can easily build teamwork and make your legs strong. Now let us say you have a reunion, a class reunion of your batchmates way back in high school. And then you put them here. And then here, here, here. The same way that you did on the other side, you put them all together. Now, don't make the mistake of putting some of your classmates here. Let's say you put your classmate there and another classmate there. So there are 2 classmates there and 4 here. Now what happens now is that you divide them. You split them into 2. And since they have common classmates, they'll be inviting the same people, and they may start competing against each other. And that wouldn't be nice to your team. So the ideal is put them here as well. Never make the mistake of putting the others on a. Now, another mistake that they do in placement is that they give their friends or their families another leg. Okay? They also recruit on the other side. Let's say that is you doing this for them. Don't make the mistake of doing that, because doing that will make you wider and it will be harder to manage the team. The system that works in Atomy is the binary system. Therefore, always go deeper and never go wide. Their other legs, it's up to them to keep on building. If they're serious builders, they will invite and put them there. Okay, sometimes this also happens in your team. So let's say this is your upline, and your upline created this, okay? And she has people here. And then let us say your upline got you and you're here, right? And then now this leg becomes also your leg. So you're sharing one leg. And then you are getting here as well, right? And you started recruiting here. Now it can happen that your upline, because you're sharing one leg, would also be putting somebody under you here. So this is very important, because for your upline to be able to put this person here, she needs to provide the ID of the one directly on top. So you might be wondering, you might make the mistake of giving the ID of this one because you're thinking you're going to put on the left side, okay? Because this is how it's going to happen, okay? What's going to happen is that if you give the ID of this one, then you will create a right leg for that person. So check your lineage, because if there's somebody here, you're supposed to put under this one, and you give the ID of the person right above. You can find the ID in your lineage. All you need to do is check. Not everyone you invite needs to build. Many people will join as consumers, and that's perfectly because Atomy grows organically. Some people join to use products, and some people join later to build, and both are equally valuable. So start slowly and share naturally. Invite calmly and focus on understanding first, because the strongest Atomy businesses are built slowly and built correctly. If you're new to Atomy, I recommend starting with a foundation series. And if you're already sharing, you're on the right path. Just keep moving forward, one person at a time. Now, this is Jeanette, and I'll see you in the next videos.